Yeah, just firstly, it's very topical, obviously, with the head injury. So I just wanted to make a couple of points around the one that's doing the rounds, which is Tomas Francis. So firstly, I just want to point out that we've got a very, very experienced medical team who we think are world class. They're experts in their field. And in relation to both Tom Francis and also Josh Adams, actually, both of those players have been seen by our medical team. The follow-up protocols that they go through post a match, the return to play protocols, which are set, the guidelines are quite clearly set by World Rugby. Those have been followed. And at each stage of that process, both players have come through fine. As a result, we've gone the extra mile, I suppose, in terms of Tomas Francis, and we've got an independent concussion specialist involved. He's got the history of the player. He's also had a look at the footage from the match, and he's also understands and has been taken through the protocols that have been followed, which are the World Rugby protocols that we go through. And he is supportive of the fact that the player has been cleared to be selected, and on that basis, and in consultation with the player, we've decided to select Tomas Francis. We've also obviously decided to select Josh Adams. So I just want to tidy that up. There's obviously another inquiry or interview going on around, or review going on around what happened on match day. So I won't comment on that until such time that's been concluded. But just want to tidy up and let you know what's gone on behind the scenes in terms of both of those players.
Okay, thanks Wayne. So now we'll come to Gareth for some other questions around selection.
Wayne, can I just ask, just finish off on that then and get that out of the way. When you hear the criticism that you've got from people who haven't been involved in the process with the player, they've seen a clip on television and that's where the criticism's coming from, you know, they're questioning your medical staff. I just wonder what you thought of that.
Yeah, look, people from time to time, express their views, and they're entitled to do that. But, you know, we've got to stay focused on what we're dealing with on the ground here, and that is the players' safety. So we go through the protocols that we all know we have to go through, and they're very stringent. We've got a very, very experienced medical team, as you well know. And by getting the independent person in on top of that, it just goes to show how serious we do take it. And obviously the player is part of this consultation process all the way through. So, yeah, look, it's everyone's entitled to their opinion, but what I would say is the experts that are dealing with it on the ground are dealing with this sort of thing on a daily basis, and as I say, they are experts in concussion.
Has this affected Tomas at all? Because he has been thrust into the spotlight somewhat, Wayne.
I don't think any player probably enjoys being in the spotlight for these sorts of things. I think, generally speaking, you know, I can only talk on what I see from Tomas in our environment, and he's head down, backside up, working hard, to be quite honest. You know, in his mind, he's good to go, and he's followed all the processes that have been put in place, and he trusts those processes and the people that put them in place.
Final one for me on this. Are you comfortable everything that happened in Twickenham went about the right thing? You're confident in your what happened there and what's happened since?
Clearly, there are people that have responsibilities on match day, and there's a review looking into what happened, and we'll see what the findings are there. But certainly, it's like anything in any sport. We're looking to, if we can improve things that we do, we'll look to do so.
Maybe have a look at your changes then, Wayne. A couple in the back row. Seb Davis, not normally a lock, but has featured in the back row for you before. And Josh Navidi straight back in. Can you just explain the thinking behind that, please? Yeah,
well, Josh has done it before, hasn't he? He did it against Ireland last year, first game back. He had no club rugby under his belt. Certain players can do this, and they've got a history of being able to step up, and he's one of them. The year before that in the Six Nations out in Twickenham, first game back was a test match against England, and we had worked on about 50 to 55 minutes from that day, but he played 80, so he was playing that well. So we know that he can do it. He ticked some boxes in the game against Cardiff and made sure the shoulder was okay, and so he's ready to go, and very pleased to have him back. Look, Seb's a guy that we've been giving little cameos off the bench. We looked at the opposition we're playing. We looked at how we played against England. We're wanting to reduce our error count and get our discipline right. He also offers us something different in terms of the balance at line-out time. And also, he's got a good skill set when he is on the edges. So in attack, it gives us another weapon, I think.
You've experimented with the back row a little bit, and you had 2 open sides and you're against Scotland. You've obviously gone for a different sort of more physical one here. Is that experimentation something you're looking at ahead of next season?
No, a lot of it's forced on us, to be honest, with injuries. With Justin Tipuric, Navs has been out, Toby's just come back in. Dan Lydiot's out. So there's a lot of players been unavailable, and not just in the back rows. So some of it's forced. We'd like to get some continuity in selection, and that will happen as we get closer and closer to the World Cup, obviously. There's only really 2 or 3 tweaks to this squad. The rest are forced through injuries. So Nick Tompkins, his is through injury. He's got sustained a concussion in the game last weekend, so we haven't pushed him at all. He's going through the processes this week, and we took him out of the selection process.
And he'll be available for Italy, or he's on course to be?
Yeah, it'll be about 14 days by then, so we're hopeful that he'll be right. But as I say, he'll go through the same stringent process that the other 2 boys have gone through.
And why Gareth Thomas starting rather than coming off the bench for this game?
Yeah, look, we think he deserves a go. He's played very well when he's come off the bench. He's made an impact. The French are a very big physical side, and I think if you looked at the first half, you looked at the second half, I think Gareth contributed in the collisions, and we're certainly going to need some big collisions on the weekend. So look, he gets the opportunity. We just spun him around. Win will come on, and no doubt he'll be eager to put in a good performance when he comes on.
And Friday night against France, since you've come into the job, Wayne, it's fair to say you own France one, don't you?
Yeah, well, look, I've got to say they've been 2 of the most enjoyable matches I've been involved in so far. They've been great games. Unfortunately, we've come out on the wrong side of the result in 2 really tight affairs, and obviously we don't think too far back to the game which was for the Grand Slam last year, and unfortunately the last minute play robbed us of that. So that's firmly in the back of the minds, the disappointment of that day. But as I say, there've been 2 great games, and I'm hoping this game will be the same.
And unusually for a Six Nations game, Wayne, there are quite a few tickets left. Can you just outline how important the full house is for the players at home in Cardiff? Yeah, well,
it certainly does help, and if it means that, because of the COVID times and that we're in and what have you, that a few French supporters haven't come over, then that probably won't worry us too much. So long as we've got our regular number of Welsh supporters, we'll be happy. But no, there are a few seats left, and yeah, it'd be great to see those seats filled up, because both sides want to play an entertaining brand of rugby, and I think you've got a side at the moment who's probably the informed team in the world, and in France, and we certainly have had a couple of great games, as I said, against them in recent times. So I think it'd be a cracker to come and watch.
And roof open or closed?
Yeah, look, until told otherwise, I guess it'll be open, but we've certainly asked the question. We're just waiting on a response there. I think that'll be something we talk to Welsh Government about.
Okay, I think that's Gareth done, so we'll come to Graham.
Hi Wayne, just to go back to the Tomas Francis story, I hear what you're saying about the independent specialist, but very eminent surgeons tend to choose their words very carefully, and when you hear somebody like Professor John Fairclough, who's got a very experienced background in sport, when you hear John Fairclough say that you're making a grave mistake, that must surely make you have certain reservations about picking him?
Oh, look, with no disrespect to the gentleman you're alluding to, we're going with experts in concussion. I know he was a leading surgeon, I think, in another area of the body, but look, we're doing everything in our power that we can do, and the decision has been taken, not a light decision, because as we always say, the players' safety and health and well-being is at the forefront of all of these decisions, and that's why we go to experts in this field to get the view and give them all the information possible.
The other thing that he said, and Progressive Rugby said after Twickenham, was that the incident clearly showed that the regulations as they stand are not fit for purpose. Do you think they are?
Look, there's a review looking at all of that. I didn't see the incident live. I've only seen it post. So if you don't see it live, and all those sorts of things and that information, no doubt, will be part of the review.
But do you think the regulations at the moment are fit for purpose?
Well, I think they are until they're changed, because it's one that we've all been working towards for some time. And leading experts are involved in putting those protocols in place.
Yeah, okay. Just to go on to team selection, and in terms of the positions you've changed, Jonathan Davis was a player maybe that people thought perhaps was being edged out coming towards the end of his career. By starting him, is part of that to show that isn't the case? He's still got a big part to play in your future as Wales coach?
Yeah, look, Nick Tompkins has been playing very, very well. Now he was unavailable for selection. Jonathan came off the bench. He's done well for us coming off the bench in the last couple of games. So probably for this game we may have gone with the same selection, but that decision wasn't made because of the injuries. So John's been very reliable for us. We're looking at what he's doing in a Welsh shirt, what he did for us against France last year. Had a very, very strong game out there in that last game of the Six Nations. So at 12, we think he's still got a lot of rugby left in him, and he brings a lot of experience, obviously.
Yeah, and Louis Rees-Zammit, Wayne, how far is he from a starting pick at the moment for you?
Well, I'm very happy with the two that started last week. I thought they did a great job, and I think Louis went back, played for his club, scored a great try coming off the bench there, and hopefully he'll do something similar for us on the weekend.
Just lastly, Antoine Dupont, there was rumours he might not play. Were you a bit hopeful he miss out on this one or not?
Yeah, we don't sort of tend to sort of single out individual players, but in this case, you can't but do that because he's world class, isn't he? Probably the form player in the world, and look, even when you're sitting in the opposition coach's box, some of the things that he does on the field, you just got to you find yourself just quietly saying, "Well done." He's just great to watch, but hopefully we'll be able to contain him, and because he is, as I say, world class.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll finish up the live section with Simon Thomas.
Hi Wayne, how are you, mate?
Good, thank you, Simon.
I would imagine that Tame Basham is reflecting on the vagaries of life at the moment. You could argue Wales' first 5 games this season, he's perhaps your best player. Now he's not in the 23. What kind of conversation have you had with him, and what's your thinking there about progress, and maybe the progress that has stalled slightly now?
Well, look, it's one selection in a number. He's a young player that's played a lot of big games in a row. Started to, I think, just make a few errors in the last game. We've spoken about that. Tane was very open and honest, and he's working very hard at his game because he wants to keep improving every match. And we've got a guy like Navs is available, and so we feel that it's a good time to freshen Tane up, and also to give Josh that opportunity. So I think it's fit for purpose for this particular round, and we'll wait and see what we do next week.
Lastly for me in this section, Nick Tompkins, I guess, is an emblem of the pros and cons of playing in the Falla week. He's man of the match, probably got a confidence-building performance, but now he's not playing. Does it bring you back to this whole issue of the risks you play when you play in England? Yeah,
and I think it's happened to other players in previous Six Nations under our tenure so far, where players have picked up the odd bump and missed games. So it's just part and parcel if you do play in the English Premiership that you don't have the ability to have a break during the competition, and certainly the club's seen what form he's in, and rightly so, I guess, from their point of view, put him out there and unfortunately picked up a bump.